Hey YouTube, it's Pensive Fox, and these are my thoughts, and this is my creepy co-host, Joker. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, then I owe you a sincere apology. I know I went MIA for about 8 months, and yeah, life happens, and unfortunately life happened for 8 months. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today with you all. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite pastimes, and actually a really great way to get away from reality and life when it's hitting you hard, and that is tabletop gaming, or more specifically Dungeons and Dragons is the example I'm going to be using in this video. So there are two main reasons I believe that everyone, regardless of gender, age, or any other difference, should play a tabletop game at least once in their life. The first reason being creativity. Now this is a really broad topic, and I'm going to break it down a little bit for you. So there are two key factors in Dungeons and Dragons, the Dungeon Master and the player character, each which bring their own separate skills to the table, but both requiring immense creativity. So we'll start with the player characters. Their creativity comes into play when they are building their character. They are building a person, a story behind this person's motivations, and they are fitting this person into a fantasy world. To give a few examples of some creative character ideas that you could try to fit into the world: a unicorn, a singing bear, a hat. Yes, a player in one of my campaigns plays a hat, believe it or not. You could play a drow assassin, you could play a wood elf child who was made into a half vampire. It's really open to whatever you want to do as far as your imagination can stretch, and the best part is the creation process is without the constraints of reality. The only rules you have are the rules you set with your group. Moving on to the Dungeon Master. The Dungeon Master's creativity comes in part, well, that's kind of just their job. Their job is to create the world, the maps, the story, the characters that aren't player characters, the non-player characters, and pretty much everything else. Their job isn't to dictate the story necessarily, but to create a cohesive story that the characters can follow along with and that they can add in and influence. Because what's the point of getting together for D&D if in the end your choices aren't going to matter? You want to be able to influence the story. And because of this, because of the amount of creativity that goes into the game on everyone's part, really, no game is ever going to be the same, because every single person is different, every character they create is going to be different, and every dungeon master is going to be different, and every story they create is different. So, for example, if I was running a campaign and my fiance was running a campaign and they were both the same story, let's say a evil wizard gets out of control and wants to steal some rings, right? And we had the same players, chances are the campaigns will both end completely differently, not because of anything we've done, but because of the influence we've allowed our players to have on the campaign with their own creativity and spin on things, because ultimately they get their own creative choice in problem-solving matters. So on the creative front, it's just pretty much your imagination running wild and being able to do whatever you want. My most recent character, Eritrea, is a noble who poisoned her entire family at her wedding and fled to become an assassin and adventurer. One of the best parts of the game is the creativity, because it allows for so many different things to happen. I mean, just infinite possibilities, and it allows people to create different games. You're not always playing the same game, and that's why Dungeons and Dragons never gets old for people who've played it for 10, 20 years. I myself have been playing for 3 years and never really get bored of it, because as long as you keep creating new content and really pushing the boundaries of what you once believed and just continuing with that, your possibilities are limitless, and the amount of story you can create is mind-blowing. It's actually inspired a lot of us to write out our characters' stories, and even some of them being put into books. Another great thing about the creative process involved in tabletop gaming is that it's cohesive and it forces people to communicate and cooperate on a level that no other game really does, which leads into the second reason I believe everyone should participate in tabletop gaming, because it provides an opportunity to socialize and make new friends if you want to. You don't have to make new friends, you can play the game with your current friends and just continue to build that relationship and make it stronger. But I can tell you right now, all the friends I've made in the past 5 years and the friends I have now are all because of tabletop gaming. It's a consistent thing we were doing. We met through tabletop gaming and we bonded through that experience. And even if you're introverted like I am, it's a really nice social activity because it helps you push your boundaries being introverted, or if you're shy. It also helps you kind of break out of your shell a little bit because it can be done within the comforts of your own home, and it can be done with people you trust. And the game never has to be big. Most people have like 5 to 7 players in the game, a total of a group of about 8, but we started out really small with only about 4 people. And you can even run a game as small as 2 people. I've done that before, where it's just 1 dungeon master and 1 player character. That's a really fun thing to do on road trips, or if you're traveling, or if you're just bored with your friend. One of you can start creating a story, the other can start creating a character, and bonding moment. Like, it's really fun, and it also creates something called shared memories, something that your group of friends and you have, and no one else does unless you tell them those stories. So it can be something really spontaneous that you do because you're bored, or it can be something that you plan out with your friends, saying, hey, let's get together on Saturday, and from 10 to 2, let's play D&D, which is what we do, partially because not all our schedules match up, and we like to stay consistent with the group. We like to have everyone at the table all at once, because it's kind of weird to have a session where there's 4 characters and then the next session it's like, where did half the party go? And it gets annoying. So we try to have consistent D&D sessions every week or bi-weekly, depending on how busy everyone gets during the year. And it gives you something to look forward to during the week, because if you can't hang out with your friends, or if you can't hang out with all of them, or maybe you're just having a really bad week, then you can always look forward on your calendar and say, oh, but I'm so excited for Saturday because we're gonna get to finally fight the villain, or we're gonna finally get to this really cool city that we keep hearing about, or I can't wait for my character to speak to that person's character because they have a secret that like ties into my backstory. It's just a really intricate system that can pull you in a bunch of different directions, and everyone gets something out of it, whether it be a story or emotional release sometimes is what people are looking for. So that is the reason I believe everyone should participate in a tabletop game at some point or another. It helps with your creativity and it really builds great friendships. But also it's a great way to build your communication skills and your cooperation skills if you have trouble with those. And if you're shy or introverted, then it also helps you break out of your shell a little bit. And also, if you're thinking about acting, it's a great way to start learning how to get into character to be an actor. So that's it. That's all I have for this video. I hope it inspired you to go find a tabletop gaming group if you don't already have one. If you do, go ahead and leave me some comments down below of some characters you've played, some fun stories and campaigns you've played in, because I'm really interested to see what other people's experiences are like. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content.